Center said last week, last month we had it saying where he came in, you want to do that, you want to move the store from the corner into the center.
Yeah, no, you made it. You got 2 minutes left.
It was this big vote.
Oh, really?
So went to the council, and they say it's the bill is better.
Does it matter which side?
Commercial.
Am I going to shock myself?
Never been through that decision.
That's,
The reason was
I need a good jump start. I need a good jump
none
start.
of those places have one.
Right.
And it's legal, it's not an illegal use, even though it's in a residential district. It's what we call legal non-conforming. Those are all grandfathered in. Because the whole area is residential, and all of a sudden here you've got this either a grocery store or an apartment building with a store downstairs or something. So all those are legal, so you're not arguing it.
You know.
And again, you have everything where, if you grant something, we've got an escape clause. If it becomes a public nuisance or causes hardship, you can rescind it.
It's here. I don't know if he's going to come to this one.
Right, and then just use that to pull it back if you need to.
If it's a problem. But that's, it's everybody's own job.
Yeah.
Got little corrections.
Do you routinely have attorneys here, usually on for corporations?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
You can come out of state and everything. We had a lot of problems with the homeowner association. There's about 40 or 50 of them in town now, and they're all banding together. This association doesn't want somebody all banding together, so they try to run the show sometimes.
Okay. What do they be wanting to
We
like?
got members on the board.
I'll bring that up.
But most of it, I'd say, is common sense. Common sense.
What do the associations want? Okay.
Here's one of my cards if you need any questions answered.
Oh, thank you very much.
You can call me anytime.
Alrighty.
My cell phone number.
Okay, the meeting will please come to order. This is a duly advertised meeting of the Joliet Zoning Board of Appeals. In our capacity, we hear petitions for relief from the strict provisions of our city ordinance. In matters of this type, the decision of this board is final in respect that it does not go to the mayor or the city council for any further action. If you disagree with our decision, you do have recourse in a court of record. We also hear petitions for variations of land use. In matters of this type, we act as, we act as an advisory committee to the mayor and city council, making a recommendation either for or against it. Final decision on land use is made by the mayor and city council. Want to call the roll?
Ms. Sanford?
Here.
Mr. Alessio?
Here.
Mr. McCauley? Mr. Nactry?
Here.
Mr. Riggs?
Here.
Mr. Thompson? Mr. Hennessy?
Here. We have a quorum.
Mr. Chair, the third order of business on your agenda today is the approval of the August 15th, 2019 Zoning Board of Appeals minutes.
Motion
To approve.
We
Second.
have a second. We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes. Call the roll. Wait a minute, hold on. You can't second because you weren't here.
Maybe I saw it on TV.
No, that's,
Second.
you don't have a sponsor. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Call the roll.
Mr. Alessio?
Aye.
Mr. Nactry? Will have to abstain.
I abstain.
Ms. Sanford?
I abstain.
Mr. Riggs?
Aye.
Mr. Hennessy?
Aye.
So that, does that pass? We've got, it technically doesn't pass because we need,
Pardon me?
technically you need 4 votes of the, to pass, so,
Well, the majority rules in that case.
okay. Item 4 on the agenda is citizens to be heard on agenda items. This is a section of the agenda for anyone wanting to speak regarding items that are listed on the agenda, except for items listed as a public hearing. And I think everything on the agenda today is a public hearing with the exception of something at the end of the meeting that is pertaining to the selection of the chairman pro tem. So is there anyone here wishing to comment on any non-public hearing agenda items? Seeing none, we'll move on to item 5.
Is there something on the agenda you'll be heard later when the petition comes up?
Yes. Under item 5 of your agenda, old business, public hearings, I'll just make note for the record that petition 2019-24 is a series of variations to allow the construction of a new gas station located at 3401, 35, and 3405 West Jefferson Street. That petition has been withdrawn. There is no old business not requiring a public hearing, and now we go to new business public hearings, and there's been one change to the agenda. The first case that will be heard out of order here is petition number 2019-31, and that is a special use permit to allow 2 trucking/trailer parking facilities for unknown users located at 2951 Mound Road. The applicant is Industrial Outdoor Ventures LLC. Purpose of this request is a special use permit in order to allow the development of 2 truck and trailer parking facilities as per the applicable zoning code section pertaining to special uses in all industrial districts. Carting, express, and hauling establishments may be allowed as special uses by the mayor and city council with the advice of the zoning board of appeals in accordance with section 47-5.2. Under site-specific information, the 23.975 acre subject site was part of the Chicago Gravel Company's holdings of 1,345 acres that were annexed in Zone B3 and I2 in August 1970. A portion of the site was utilized by CDT Landfill, which was adjacent to the site as per a development agreement approved in December of 1996. The landfill was closed in July 2006. This case was filed on August 15th of 2019. Surrounding zoning in each direction, north, south, east, and west, is I-2, General Industrial District. Applicable regulations are as noted in the report. Under discussion, again, this is a special use permit in order to develop a truck hauling facility for 2 unknown users, and there is an attached site plan in your packet. The proposal includes 2 2,500 square foot concrete block buildings, and these are office buildings, that will include 15 to 18 automobile parking spaces for employees. And then there would be truck trailer parking being proposed for a 138 space parking lot and a 214 space parking lot. A stormwater detention pond is being proposed at the southwest corner of the site. A conceptual landscape plan, which is attached in your packet, has been submitted that shows extensive landscaping is proposed along Interstate 80 to act as a buffer and screen. Landscaping, screening, and parking lot paving will be required as per the city's zoning ordinance. It should be known that the city is in the early stages of a study on the costs and benefits of truck terminals and truck parking facilities in and to the city. Early indications point to very little tax generation of these types of facilities and large amounts of truck-related abuse to local roads. This is contrary to warehousing and distribution centers in that they provide adequate amounts of local property taxation to the city. Therefore, staff would recommend that a favorable recommendation also include a condition for a future development agreement with the developer to initiate a payment in lieu of taxes that would be similar to a comparable warehouse project for the property or for the project. Under conditions, if the zoning board does desire to approve the special use permit, the following conditions would be included. 1, that a future development agreement with the developer to initiate a payment in lieu of taxes shall be required that would be similar to a comparable warehouse project. 2, that a landscape plan shall be submitted as part of the building permit plan set that meets city ordinance. 3 is a standard condition, I'll read part of it, that the special use granted shall herein terminate and lapse unless a building permit or certificate of occupancy is obtained not later than 180 days of the effective date of the ordinance, or alteration of a building is started or the use is commenced within such period. And the 4th and final condition would be that should the property be declared a public nuisance, it shall be subject to a rehearing and possible revocation of the special use permit. That concludes staff's report.
Well, do you swear the evidence you're about to present is the truth under penalty of law?
I
I do, Your Honor. Thank you.
Name and address.
Michael Hanson, 111 North Ottawa Street, Attorney Joliet, representing the petitioner, owner, Industrial Outdoor Ventures LLC. We would have no further comments, Mr. Chairman, on the reading of by the city, except to express the fact that I've talked to Mr. Jackson about this proposed pilot program. We're going to have some discussions on it between now and the city council meeting. Technically, we would object to that condition being included, but we're going to see if we can work something out in the meantime, so.
Are you talking about the taxes?
Taxes, correct.
Mr. Chairman,
Would you have an alternative proposition for the city on that?
I guess the alternative proposition, of course, at the current time is nothing because of a couple situations. Number one is we don't have anything in the city right now. Number two, the location of this property being on Mound Road, the access to it, if you will, for these trucks is going to be to I-80. So that's, I believe, about a,
Does the city have anything on the books now that we could?
We do not, but what I've been told is historically, years and years ago, there was a similar project where a payment was made in lieu of the property taxes that would have been
Okay, well,
collected otherwise.
In that case, you would be willing to sit down with the city and work something out?
I've already expressed that, yeah, we will sit
Okay.
down with the city,
That's
correct.
my only question. Any other questions by the board?
Is any part of this on the old disposal site?
No,
So this is all solid ground under?
correct, yep.
Any other comments?
Well, I've been told that, I might have wrong information, just to follow up on that question, is that people have been using this as a clean fill site since '06, and it had been built up. Is that, do I have incorrect information on
That
it?
is not my understanding, Mr. Alessio, no. This
Okay.
has been vacant ground, so. I know it's very close to the site you're referring to, yes. And of course, if you go up there, it is rather confusing when you travel up there based on the road, because I've been there myself to understand what is what property, so.
Okay.
Any other questions by the board?
I have a question for staff.
Sure.
Mike, you mentioned early about the potential wear of roads, but did I hear that as one of the conditions that you put at the end?
The first condition is what we're referring to right now with the payment in lieu of the
Okay,
property.
and that would be in part to repair or repave mound and whatever the,
Well, indirectly, yes, but the idea is that these types of facilities where the land doesn't have a high EAV or assessed value, there's, very small buildings being built. They're not large warehouse buildings which generate higher property taxes for the city. This type of facility does not generate, it's a parking lot for essentially with the two small buildings. And so this is being explored, as Mr. Hanson indicated, with the council, and ultimately will become a policy decision of the city council. But my understanding, historically predating myself here, that this has been done in the past, or payments for certain projects in the city were done in this manner in order to offset the loss of property taxes that otherwise, for a larger building on this site, would have generated revenue for the city.
I think, Mr. Commissioner, it may have been done twice, to my knowledge, and the reason it wasn't continued essentially was the recession hit in 2008, and after that, it just was never brought up on any particular project.
Anything further by the board?
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
This is only for truck parking, it's not for container storage?
That is correct.
That similar question. So we, although there's unknown users, are we looking at a trucking company renting from the developer and that trucking company running an operation out of there? Or are we looking at, truck rental parking? Or all, because it's unknown, we don't know yet?
It's not a truck terminal, it's not really an operation, Mr. Alessio, out of there. It's essentially truck parking.
Anybody in the audience wishing to speak in favor? Anyone opposed? Chair closes petition to the floor. Ask the board for discussion and a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the petition. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Nactry?
I,
Mr. Riggs?
Aye.
Ms. Sanford?
Aye.
Mr. Alessio?
Aye.
Mr. Hennessy?
Aye. Thank you.
The next matter on your agenda is what was listed first under public hearings. That is petition number 2019-28. And the applicant in this matter is Doug Harris, also the owner of the property, for the property located at 708 Algonquin Street. This request is a variation to allow a 34-foot by 28-foot detached garage that exceeds the footprint of the main structure. The purpose is to allow the construction of the garage to exceed the footprint of the main structure in an R2 single-family residential zoning district. The property in question is 5,203 square feet in size. It's the circa 1949 one-story house is 595 square feet in size. The house was built on a concrete slab and therefore has no basement. The property currently includes 2 small sheds. Current lot coverage is 15%. The lot has a gravel driveway and a gravel parkway. The city annexed the property in 1984. The property is zoned R2, single-family residential, and this petition was filed on July 24th of this year. Surrounding zoning, land use, and character are as follows. To the north is zoned R2, single-family residential. To the south is zoned R5, unincorporated Will County, that's single-family residential. To the east is also zoned R5, unincorporated Will County, presently single-family residential. And to the west is R2, single-family residential, and there is a single-family home there with a business. Applicable regulations are as noted in the report. Under discussion, the petitioner seeks to construct a 28-foot by 34-foot or 952 square foot garage at the subject property in order to shelter his vehicles, create additional storage space for household items, and to create a wood shop. His lot does not have any garage whatsoever at this time. The Joliet zoning ordinance requires detached garages to be smaller in footprint in terms of their first floor square footage to the principal structure unless otherwise approved by a variation from the Zoning Board of Appeals. Therefore, the petitioner needs to seek a variation to construct a 952 square foot garage since it would be substantially larger than the 595 square foot house. The property is located in an area of the city that includes a mix of incorporated and unincorporated lots, as well as a mix of small lots and lots that have been made larger through the combination of adding smaller lots or consolidation. Should this variation be approved, the petitioner intends to tear down the existing 10.3 foot by 10.4 foot and 7.6 foot by 10 foot sheds. The removal of the sheds is necessary for the property to meet the city's 30% lot coverage requirement. The lot coverage with just the house and the proposed garage is 29.7%. The petitioner also will be required to create a paved driveway as well as pave the parkway or return the parkway to grass per city ordinance. Conditions are as noted if the zoning board desires to approve this variation and request to allow the 34-foot by 28-foot detached garage exceeding the footprint of the main structure. The following conditions would be included. 1, that the existing 10.3 by 10.4 and 7.6 by 10-foot sheds shall be removed prior to issuance of building permits for the garage. 2, that a paved driveway leading to the garage shall be installed prior to a certificate of compliance being issued for the garage. And 3, that the gravel parkway be paved or returned to grass prior to a certificate of compliance being issued for the garage. And that concludes staff's report.
Thank you. Do you swear the evidence you're about to present is the truth under penalty of law?
Yes, sir.
Your name and address.
Doug Harris, 708 Algonquin Street, Joliet.
Any comments you'd like to make?
No, sir. Just, I'm here just to try to build a garage.
Okay, any questions by the board?
Are you on the city water?
Yes, sir.
And does the neighbors around you, don't their water line run through that, to the back of your lot still?
No, sir. Both houses on each side of me are on wells.
Okay.
They just, the one to the north of me just got annexed into the city a couple years ago.
Okay, so you've checked with the neighbors, not
Yes.
just the neighbors, but the water association that's right there behind you?
Well, all my water runs through the front of the house.
No, I'm talking about the neighborhood association that's right there in your area. Have you checked with them to make sure there's no line problems?
Oh, no, sir. I don't see a problem with the line. The only thing that I've been told that I'm gonna have to do is change the electric and bury the electric line. Because that comes in straight over, that'll run into the roof of the garage.
Okay. Any other questions by the board? Anybody in the audience wishing to speak in favor? Anyone opposed? Chair closes petition to the floor, asks the board for discussion and a motion.
I move we approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the petition. Poll the board.
Mr. Riggs?
Aye.
Ms. Sanford?
Aye.
Mr. Alessio?
Aye.
Mr. Nordstreet?
Aye.
Mr. Hennessy?
Aye, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, the next item on your agenda is petition number 2019-29. The applicant in this matter is Guillermo Soto, also the owner of the property. This is for a location at 2818 Sierra Avenue, and the request is to reduce the corner side yard setback from 20 feet to 7 feet in order to allow installation of an above-ground pool. The Zoning Board of Appeals makes the final decision for this type of request. Under site-specific information, the lot is 72 feet by 125 feet, or 9,002 square feet, and is located at the southeast corner of Sierra Avenue and Mojave Drive. The lot contains a two-story, single-family residence. The existing zoning is R2, single-family residential. This petition was filed on August 7th of 2019. Surrounding zoning, land use, and character, the property is surrounded in all directions by single-family residential, zoned R2 in the Clearwater Springs at Mirage subdivision. Applicable regulations are as noted in the report. Under discussion, again, the petitioner is requesting this variation to reduce the required corner side yard setback in order to install an above-ground pool. Per the zoning ordinance regulations, in a required corner side yard, a pool must be located at least 20 feet minimum from the property line. The petitioner intends to locate the proposed 21-foot diameter pool 7 feet from the side property line, and there is a site plan included in your packet. The petitioner has stated that he desires to place the pool in the proposed location because there are existing power lines that run through the areas of the rear yard that are not encumbered by setbacks or easements. The property has an existing 4-foot wood picket fence along the property line along Mojave Drive. And that concludes staff's report.
Thank you. Raise your right hand. You swear the evidence you're about presents the truth under penalty of law. Name and address.
Guillermo Soto, 2818 Sierra Avenue.
Any comments you'd like to make?
It's the only place that I can put a pool that there isn't a power line or Comcast, or they ran across my yard diagonally. And my kids have been wanting it for a long time, and, you know, that's it. This is my last,
Okay, any questions? Board?
I just have an observation. Pools like Mr. Soto is proposing are already in the neighborhood. He has one right behind him, and that neighbor has one, and they also have reduced setbacks. His setback is against the road, not another lot. So I don't see that any harm is being done in any way to this neighborhood or to his neighbors by this pool, because pools are quite popular in this development.
Any other comments by the board? Anyone in the audience wishing to speak in favor? Is there anyone opposed? Chair closes the petition to the floor and asks the board for discussion and a motion.
Motion to approve.
I second it.
We have a motion and a second to approve the petition. Poll the board.
Ms. Sanford?
Aye.
Mr. Alessio?
Aye.
Mr. Nordstreet?
Aye.
Mr. Riggs?
Aye.
Mr. Hennessy?
Aye. Thank you.
The next matter on your agenda is petition number 2019-30. The applicant and owner is M.I. Homes of Chicago LLC, represented by Tanya Naji, and the location is the northwest corner of Theodore Street and Droughton Road. This is a request for a variation to allow an off-premise sign for the marketing of new homes in the Legacy Point subdivision to be located at the northwest corner of Theodore Street and Droughton Road. The zoning board makes the final decision for this type of request. Under site-specific information, the subject site received approval for annexation, an annexation agreement, and for zoning reclassification to the R2 Single Family Residential District in February of 1991. An amendment to an annexation agreement, the zoning reclassification to B1 Neighborhood Business District, and the Theodore's Commons subdivision plat were approved in March of 2009, but the property was never developed as per the approved plans. Surrounding zoning, land use, and character are as follows. To the north is a farmstead zoned A1 agriculture that's in unincorporated Will County. To the south, east, and west are all residential, and those are zoned R2 in the city of Joliet. Applicable regulations are as noted. Under discussion, the petitioner, MI Homes of Chicago LLC, is a local home builder who wishes to draw more attention to their home lots that are available in the Legacy Point subdivision, which is located 3/4 of a mile west on the south side of Theodore Street. The proposed off-premise sign would be placed near the intersection of Theodore Street and Droughton Road, and there is a site plan in your packet. The sign will be V-shaped and double-faced with two 8-by-12-foot sign faces. The petitioner has indicated that the 3-foot by 12-foot lattice panels will be placed along the bottom of the sign, and ornate posts will be added as decorative features of the sign. The sign will be placed 10 feet from the property lines in order to comply with city ordinance. Under conditions, if the zoning board desires to approve the variation, the following conditions should be considered. 1, that the off-premise sign on the subject site shall be permitted for a 3-year period expiring on September 19th of 2022. The off-premise sign shall be removed no later than 30 days from the approval date. And 2, that the base of the off-premise sign shall be wrapped with 3-foot by 12-foot lattice panels. And that concludes staff's report.
Petitioner present? Aha, that's why I'm always saying we should ask if they're present before we read all that. Do you want to move on and bring this back up at the end?
You can
Or do you
vote
wanna
on
vote
it,
on
even, you can vote on it in their absence. We always recommend that they attend. If you wanted to vote on it, you could, or you could table it. Or you can just simply, if people are here to speak on it, you could entertain their testimony and then table it even after the public hearing, continue the hearing to the next
Why
meeting.
don't we just wait and see if they show up and move it to the end of the agenda?
Okay. So the next item on your, agenda is petition number 2019-32. The applicant is Hellsberg Diamonds, Parker Wellman. The owner is IRC Joliet Commons 1 and 2, location 2645 Plainfield Road. This was a request for a variation on signage, but it was found that this request was approved previously in March of 1996, and therefore, through our records, we discovered that this particular request would not be necessary, and so therefore the application has been withdrawn.
Okay.
And the final matter of the day is petition number 2019-33. The applicant in this matter is Gennaro Mascotti, also the owner of the property. Location is 212 Morris Street. And this is a request for a variation to reduce the required side yard setback from 5 feet to 0 feet to construct a 7-foot 4-inch by 19-foot roofed patio. The petitioner is requesting this variation to reduce the setback in an R2 single-family residential district from 5 feet to 0 feet to construct that roof patio. The property in question is 50 foot by 140 foot, or 7,000 square feet, and it includes a circa 1942 1 1/2 story house that is 1,092 square feet in size. The property includes a 22 foot by 24 foot garage and a 10 by 12 2-story playhouse. Current lot coverage is 20%. The property is zoned R2 single-family residential district. Surrounding zoning, land use, and character are as follows. The property is surrounded in all directions by single-family residential homes and the R2A zoning district. The property is located in the Idleside subdivision. Applicable regulations are as noted. Under discussion, it was brought to the city's attention in June of 2019 that the property owners did not obtain a building permit for the 32-foot by 19-foot rear covered patio structure and a small front porch patio. The complainant also stated that the roof patio was constructed with mismatched roof shingles. The property owner filed this petition request on July 3rd of 2019. When the city reviewed this application for a variation, it was determined that the existing roof patio encroached 5 feet into the 5-foot side yard setback, since it extends to the property line. Therefore, the petitioner requests a variation to reduce the required side yard setback from 5 feet to 0 feet in order to keep the 7-foot 4-inch by 19-foot portion of the roof patio that the petitioner constructed to the lot line. The lot coverage with the constructed roof patio is 27%. The approval of the variation would allow the petitioners to keep a roof patio that takes up all of the 5-foot required side yard building setback. If conditions are added, or if the zoning board desires to approve this variation request, that the following conditions would be included, should be included. 1, that a building permit shall be obtained for the roof patio and front porch within 14 days of approval of this petition. And 2, that dissimilar roof shingles on the previously constructed roof patio shall be removed and shall be replaced with shingles that match those of the principal roof structure of the home prior to a certificate of compliance being issued for the roof patio. And that concludes staff's report.
Raise your right hands, please. Do you swear the evidence you're about to present is the truth under penalty of law?
Yes.
Your names and addresses.
So I'm Veronica Moscotti. I'm the daughter of Gennaro Moscotti at 212 Morris Street.
Gennaro Moscotti.
Speak into the microphone, please.
Gennaro Moscotti, 320 South Margaret Street.
Okay. Any comments you'd like to make?
So the reason why the patio from the back is mainly because of there's a basement door that faces down, and before we put it, there was a lot of snow damage, and the door actually would leak a lot of water into the basement because of the snow, rain conditions of it. And we mainly use the back door, not the front door. So it's kind of privacy and kind of nice when the weather, you have to get down groceries and things like that from the car. It's nice to have that patio where you don't have rain falling on you, or kind of having that, as well as kind of privacy from the neighbors, having that kind of close proximity from both ends. It kind of works out very nicely. And regards to the shingles, my dad does have them already. He just wants to put it on, whether he has to reduce it or kind of depending on what the results are from right now.
Is he going to be doing that himself, or is he going to have a contractor?
He's been doing it himself.
Is everything else in there under code?
So the reason we've added the condition requiring application for a building permit, because they haven't yet applied for one, at that stage, the inspector will go out, take a look at what's been done. They'll have to file plans for what was done, and those plans would need to be approved. So they'll find during inspection if it's been
I want to make sure that thing is structurally
done
sound.
correctly. That's why we have that condition. At this point in time, I don't know if the structure meets code. So I'm just getting information that I was not aware of. The inspector apparently that handles this has been out there once, I believe, and he's indicated that there are some minor adjustments that will need to be made. So you're aware, have you met with him on site?
Yes, I already did.
Okay.
I already did what he told me to do.
Do you know what those other conditions or problems would be?
They're building related. No, I do not.
Okay, so staff can handle that then?
Yes.
Have it.
And why didn't you get a building permit when you first started doing this?
I didn't thought I was gonna go, I was thinking just a little bit, and then I ended
You
up.
weren't aware of the law? Okay. Any other questions by the board?
Yeah, I have one. The roof over the patio that extends to the property line connects with what looks to be an extension on the house, which also goes to the property line. Did you folks put that enclosed extension of the house on, or was that there when you bought it?
That was already there.
The little porch on the side,
Yeah,
that was already there on the home.
Okay. Do we happen to know if a zoning variation was granted for that bit of construction? It would have been a long time ago, probably.
We have no record that there is a variation for that, so the assumption is that it was built with the house and obviously picked up on their survey. I don't have the date of their survey. It might be hard to read. Let me see if I can.
They're the exact same distance, right?
Yes.
It's a fairly recent it's a 2019 survey, so the survey shows it there. I don't know right now when it would have been built.
I guess the question would be, if that extension is there, let's say, assuming that the porch would be denied, you're still gonna have the encroachment
Yep.
regardless. So it doesn't really make, the encroachment doesn't really make that much significant difference.
Correct. You're being asked to vote on extending
Just on the porch, yeah.
the new
Okay.
recent construction.
Any other questions by the board? Is there anybody in the audience wishing to speak in favor? Anyone opposed? Oh, come on forward. Couldn't see you back there.
How you doing?
Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear the evidence you're about to present is the truth under penalty of law?
Yes, it is.
Name and address.
Dan Gonda, 210 Morris Street.
Where do you live in relationship to the house?
That would be north, one house north,
Okay, directly across the street?
directly across.
Okay.
So the issue I have is I'm trying to sell my home, and when they put that up there, a lot of people that have come through, I've had a few people, 4 or 5 people come through that said, house is real nice, but the neighbor's house seems too close. So I have pictures that show what the view is from my kitchen window. If you'd like to, if I can approach the bench and show them to you. I also have it's kind of separate views on all that. You can keep them or hang on to them, whatever. So it's right out of my kitchen sink. All you see is roof.
So the complaint that these people said was what again?
Huh?
What was
The neighbors, the house seems too close. They look at the house, the whole house is nice, but the neighbor's house looks too close. Because all you see out my kitchen window is a roof with mismatched shingles.
Well, you're across the street from the house?
No,
he's
no,
adjacent.
I am right next
He's
door.
adjacent.
Oh,
210.
okay.
They are 212, I am 210. They have tan house right next door.
Did the,
My kitchen window looks right out onto that roof. That wasn't there when I bought the house. I also have, let me give you all this stuff, I guess. Here's a letter from my realtor stating the issues we're having, and also, it mentions in the letter, we've had 3 price reductions. There have been no.
How long's the house been on the market?
Since April.
It's April. And was that porch there when you bought your house?
No,
It was added afterwards?
it was added whenever they put it, was it last year?
but the extension of the house was there, I
That
assume?
little short piece, yes, that was there. But not the huge roof that was added on right there.
The extension on this is for staff, is 19 feet, is that correct? The new piece of,
Yes, so
on
if
the
you look,
property line?
if you go look at the plat survey that's on the screen, in the green there, the green highlighter shows the extension of the property, or the roof structure up to the property line. There's a 19-foot dimension there, and then I believe it's roughly 7 feet in width. The existing little bump out is 7, so there would be roughly 23 feet in length of house touching the property line.
Yes, sir. You want these back?
something tomorrow.
Want to place those on file with the secretary?
Yeah, anything that you submit, any written, we'll make copies for you, but we do need a record of
And you
it.
have pictures on the flash drive?
I'll make sure you get this back if you need it. And
Oh,
then,
we don't need it.
yeah, and the letter as well, we'll need to keep that. Thank you.
Okay, any other comments?
Could we ask the owners
Sure.
to come up again?
Yeah. Would you want to come back up, please?
I have a question for you. Could you live with the patio in the back with the cover, but without the extension over the 5-foot section of the property that's supposed to be a setback?
So cutting it off?
The 5 feet.
You cut it even with the side of the house?
Yeah, just make the back, the roof of the back patio the same as the main part of the house, without the extension to the property line.
Yeah, I can cut it off.
That, you would still have protection for your basement doors.
Yes.
You would not have a cover, I assume there's a door in that little bump out of the house.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
one of the
that's-
reasons we
Yeah.
did the porch, for the entrance there.
You could have an awning over that, for God's sakes.
Yeah, how exactly, the chairman suggests just an awning over the door?
You can cut the porch even with the side of the house.
Yeah, I think, if I don't have any other choice.
Is
I'll
that
cut it.
agreeable? You can make that in the form of a motion, Bob.
I would move that we approve a roof on the back patio that terminates before the 5-foot setback. I don't know if that's understandable, but that's what I mean.
So essentially, just kind of coming at this a different angle, if you just deny the request, by right, he can legally build or keep the section of the porch that's just even with the house
Yeah.
facing the backyard. So that's, you can, I'm not telling you how to phrase your motion, but essentially that's where I think that's where you're going. But I do also see others here in the audience that I don't know if they're here for this case or if they would like to give testimony.
I asked earlier, nobody,
Well, let me ask this gentleman, would that be acceptable to you?
You're the board here, you know.
Well, does it,
no, they have to come up to the mic if they're gonna talk.
the question is, does it ease your difficulty any?
I'm sure it'll ease it somewhat, you know. I don't know if I know Gino mentioned to me when they did it, it was more for privacy of his previous tenant, who thought that when I did my dishes, because my kitchen sink looks right out there, that he was paranoid, I was watching him. So,
How long ago was this done?
geez, I'd say, what, a year and a half ago, maybe? I really don't remember. It wasn't until I selling the house that this really came up, and I even mentioned the shingles before, but nothing happened, so.
Well, that's gonna be taken care of with this new motion. Okay, thank you for your time.
Okay.
Did you have another comment?
I was gonna ask staff, so in the conditions, if we allow the setback, it said the thing about the shingles being the same color. Now, if we don't approve the motion, is he still bound to those conditions? So let's say we deny it,
And it's torn down.
is the building and the code enforcement department going to?
They'll tear it down.
So he still needs a roofing permit, a roof permit. And as part of that, what I'm understanding is that they would take a look and make sure that the materials match.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second to approve the petition with the conditions as stated prior. Poll the board.
Oh, I want to make sure we're clear.
Right.
If we deny the petition, this gentleman can erect the roof up to that 5 foot away from the property line, so,
To the wall of the house.
to the wall of the house.
So long as he obtained building
As-
permits and
as
is
long
up
as-
to code.
Yeah, and that goes without saying, he's gonna need, he needs a building permit
Right.
for the work that's already been done.
So you're doing the same thing but in reverse of what Bob said, that's all.
So if the other option is if you just
If we
deny the,
approve it,
if you
subject
just
to the
simply
porch
deny the
being cut
request,
down. That's what he's
you can
saying.
still keep that portion in the back.
I'm sorry, say that again.
If you were to deny the request, he could still just keep that, you're essentially, there would be no reason to approve the variance with conditions,
Because the condition would be.
because you're adding a condition that he can't have the setback along the property line, which is the whole reason for the request
Oh,
for the
it's-
variance.
It's denying
So-
the variance request.
So if you just simply
Okay.
deny it, he still needs to get a building permit, that remains, you know, and the roof materials should match. But if you approve, it would be strange, I don't think it's illegal, but it would be strange to approve the request and then tell him you can't have the request along the property line.
So if you deny the request, how can you put a condition on it?
You can't. We just,
That's
as
my
part of the
point,
building,
so-
as part of the building,
So what would
Permit.
happen to the extension then?
the inspector, he would have to cut it and take down that portion, that 5-foot portion.
You'd have to remove it,
It
yeah,
have to be removed.
to the property, to the side of the house.
To the wall of the house. If he so chooses, he could take the whole thing down. But if he wants to keep, if they want to keep the back and just cut it off where it leads to that side door,
And then it would be conforming.
then there's no need for the variance.
Do you understand that, sir?
Jim, we don't need the variance to bring the existing into conformity, do we? That wasn't, not part of the request. Okay. Okay.
Okay, Bob, do you want to withdraw your
I
petition?
would happily withdraw my motion.
Okay, now we need a motion to deny.
Motion to deny the permit to change the setback from 5 feet to 0, or to the property line.
I second.
Second?
I
We have a
second.
motion to second to deny the petition subject to the conditions stated. Full
Mr.
board.
Lucio?
Aye.
Mr. Noctre?
Aye.
Mr. Riggs?
Aye.
Ms. Sanford?
Aye.
Mr. Hennessy?
Aye. Thank you.
The next,
The other guy never showed up.
so we would need a motion to either, you could either come back, can consider voting on that other item in their absence, and we would send it, we would notify them of the action, or you could table it.
What does the board want to do? This is a fairly routine thing.
It's routine, except,
There are residents here on this matter
Are
then.
you here on that issue? Okay.
Cool.
Then we're
So
not
the,
going to hear it then.
so the public hearing remains open, and I
Table it to the next meeting.
went ahead and I'm sorry?
Are we going to table it then, or what?
It's up to you. You can table it, or you can hear their testimony and table it.
as
You
a
can
matter
just
of
table it, and
courtesy.
then we'll have them come back instead of speaking twice,
I'd rather
because the
table it.
petitioner's not here
Petitioner's
to
not here
answer
to
any
defend
questions,
himself.
so.
Statement.
So the safest
Only
thing
gonna
might
hear
be,
one side.
safest thing might be just to table it.
Yeah.
She's wasted her time. That's
Well,
not very
It's
nice.
still not fair not to have the petitioner here. Chair's asking for a tabling motion till the next
Motion to
meeting.
table it.
We have a motion to table, is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion to table to second to the next scheduled meeting.
Mr. Lucio?
Aye.
Mr. Noctre?
Aye.
Mr. Riggs?
Aye.
Ms. Sanford?
Aye.
Mr. Hennessy?
Aye.
So that concludes our public hearings for the afternoon. The next item on your agenda, Mr. Chair, under new business not requiring public hearing, is item A, Zoning Board of Appeals Chairperson Pro Tem selection.
We need a pro tem. Ms. Powers is gone. I would suggest, we've usually done this by granting it to the person with the second amount of seniority. It would be Mr. Riggs. If I cannot make a motion, if someone else would care to make another choice or option, you're open to do so.
I would so move that Mr. Riggs be designated as the pro tem.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to name Jim Riggs as, I almost said Mayor Pro Tem, Chairman Pro Tem. That would really screw things up.
Stafford?
Aye.
Mr. Alessio?
Aye.
Mr. Noctre?
Aye.
Mr. Hennessy?
Aye. That would get Shanahan and everybody else all excited.
And I will accept it. if
You wanna
that's
be
what you're
Mayor Pro
looking at me
Tem?
for.
Is he abstaining? Yeah, you could just.
Mr. Riggs, your vote, please.
Yes, I will accept it.
Nice campaign, Jim.
Yeah, I know, it was a rough one.
Last
Spent a
item
lot of
on your
money on that.
agenda under public comments. This public comments section is for anyone wanting to speak regarding non-agenda items. This is, anyone wanting to speak is entitled to a maximum of 4 minutes, and this is
Do
not.
you have any comments you'd like to make while you're here? You can make it under now. I mean, even though we're not gonna vote on it. You can
Well,
hear,
it's regarding non-agenda items.
oh, not agenda, okay.
So, seeing no one, last item is, well, one thing I want to make an announcement regarding the, oh, no, I'm not going to, I was just going to mention, there is a, no, you don't want me to, I'll save it for later. Okay. So your last item is for adjournment. Last item is for adjournment.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
We have motion and a second to adjourn. Poll the board.
Mr. Alessio?
Aye.
Mr. Noctre?
Aye.
Mr. Riggs?
Aye.
Ms. Stafford?
Aye.
Mr. Hennessy?
Aye. That was such a good time. I don't
You're
know.
outvoted.
Yeah.
I think you would have been outvoted
yeah.
anyway.
Good job.
Did you get the letter from the
You see what I mean? How somebody smells a little
I
Yeah.
was going to mention it, and I thought
Yeah.
I'll just mention it later.
Jeez.
That I'm speaking.
I'll
Are we going to the clubhouse? All right, I gotta stop at the thingamajig office.
Occasionally we stop in for a little